I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed how we are telling ourselves stories all day long? There's this constant story, this script that's going on in your head. These stories could be about money, love, yourself, your life, what's possible for you, what's not. Is he or she losing interest in me? I'll probably never figure this out. Always, constant, this movie playing in your head, right? And here's the crazy part. Psychology has actually shown us that most of the repetitive thoughts you and I think about on a daily basis aren't even true. There's no accuracy to them. No facts, no truth. They're just old patterns, old assumptions, old limiting beliefs. Basically, stories your nervous system learned a long time ago. And it quietly just keeps replaying in the background. Think about, I love analogies, think of it like an old Netflix episode that somehow just keeps playing on autoplay, even though you are completely over the goddamn show. It's like same emotional storyline, just a different day. Different outfit, but same internal script. And what's awful about this, because eventually we stop questioning the story that's playing in the head and we start living inside of it. Which means, without even realizing it, we begin filtering reality based off of these beliefs that may not even be true. And honestly, I had one of these moments over the weekend. I was at the gym with my boyfriend. It's a little embarrassing, but I'm gonna share at the end of this video exactly what happened. But what is that saying? Like, no shame, no game? Because it was fascinating how I realized that my brain started to quietly tell me a story that was based off of no facts, no evidence, no proof, just off of my own nervous system, like old programming from crap that's happened to me in the past. And it brought me somewhere emotionally I honestly didn't deserve to go. And neither did he, my poor sweet boyfriend. So, but when I caught myself, I was like, oh my God, like this is exactly what keeps people stuck. And I know it used to keep me stuck too. Because honey, the story you repeatedly tell yourself becomes the lens you experience reality through. And if the lens is distorted, your reality often starts feeling distorted too. So in this video, I'm going to show you and explain why limiting beliefs silently shape our reality, how your subconscious mind keeps replaying old stories, why your nervous system mistakes familiar thoughts for truth, and the real-time technique I personally use to stop spiraling into these limiting beliefs, and how you can start neutralizing old programming instead of letting it quietly run and potentially ruin your sweet, beautiful life. Because honestly, once you understand this, you stop believing every thought you think. Something I like to do is just think, okay, this is just a thought, just like a cloud kind of rolling by. We don't have to identify with every thought. And that, my beautiful friends, changes everything. But if you are new here, hi, welcome to my channel, Rise and Elevate. My name is Leanne, and this is just a space that I created where I talk about universal principles and how I've utilized them and continue to utilize them to have a beautiful life. So today is part 2 of this little master series that I'm putting together on reprogramming your reality. So if you didn't watch part 1, the identity anchors, I would definitely go watch that one first. I will put it in the description below because this video is just going to kind of build directly on it. So part 1, we talked about how your nervous system becomes loyal to identity and how your body often keeps recreating familiar versions of reality because familiar feels safe and cozy. It's kind of like familiar, like family. So today, we're going to talk about something even deeper. The thing that often creates identity in the first place, which is, I wish I had like a trumpet, your beliefs. Your beliefs are huge. And sometimes you're not even aware of your own internal, like deep beliefs. So the stories you repeatedly tell yourself, that subconscious programming, it's quietly running in the background of your life. It's almost like this invisible software. Think of yourself as like a computer. And the story you repeat becomes the reality you see. And here's what's fascinating about this. Psychology. Your brain is constantly filtering information. Like constantly. Because imagine if your brain tried to process every single thing happening around you all at once, we would all lose our minds. You would go crazy. A recent neuroscience suggested, I think, your senses take in roughly 1 billion bits of information per second. So it's off of what you see, what you hear, feel, smell, your body, sensations, facial expressions, the environment, past memories. All that is just being triggered. So that means in 1 minute, 60 seconds, 1 billion bits of sensory information. But your conscious mind, that beautiful mind of yours, only processes around 10 bits per second, or roughly like 600 bits per minute, for actual focused, conscious thought, just like decision making. I know that was a lot of numbers, but it's important to know because your brain is constantly filtering all of that incoming information, which means seriously, really take this in because it does not show you reality objectively. It shows you what it thinks matters based off of those beliefs and all those other things. It's just constantly, it's heavily influenced by beliefs, past experiences, your attachment patterns, your nervous system familiarity, and your subconscious assumptions. So instead, your brain creates filters. Psychology calls this part of a confirmation bias meaning. Your brain looks for evidence. It's constantly looking for evidence just to confirm what it already believes. So my beautiful friend, if deep down you believe, maybe you're not aware of it, it could be a subconscious belief, people always leave, guess what your brain is going to start to notice? Distance, tone changes, delayed messages, delayed text backs, silence, all those little things. And suddenly, your brain, remember, it creates a story. Is he pulling away? Is she pulling away? Did I say something wrong? He or she doesn't care about me anymore. Even though none of this could actually be true. So this is where relationships can get really, really messy. Money can get messy. Confidence can get messy because most people aren't reacting to reality. They're reacting to a story. And I want you to be really honest. Think about the story that you're replaying. Because I experienced this over the weekend when I was at the gym with my boyfriend. Everything was completely fine, completely normal. We love going to this one gym here in town. And, you know, sometimes it gets a little annoying because a lot of people are always trying to take pictures and we kind of switch from the tread to the floor and like you have to grab equipment quickly, right? So it's annoying when someone is trying to like film or take a picture of themselves. And I noticed this one girl that like walked by and she was like, her hair was just like blown out or something. And I was like, all of a sudden my brain like went somewhere. And I caught myself thinking like, does he think she's pretty? Is she prettier than me? oh, is he thinking like he would rather be with her? And before I realized it, emotionally, I was like in a different place. I was not present anymore. And it didn't feel good. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, maybe with relationships or money or anything, with work. And the crazy part, nothing had even happened. Like absolutely nothing. There was no proof, no facts, no evidence that he didn't even know who she didn't even know what I was talking about afterwards. So, an old story, an old pattern, an old limiting belief within me from my nervous system, maybe trying to protect me in a way, was running the show. And the sad part is like I remember looking over at my boyfriend and him, we were running and on the treads, and he looked at me, he's like, what's wrong? He thought like something was wrong with me. Because usually I'm like, woo, like cheering and yelling and hooting and hollering, and I love to like dance in there and just have fun because I love cardio and I just love working out. But he knew I wasn't myself. So it was just crazy because it wasn't me. It wasn't real. It wasn't what happened. And honestly, I had to laugh about it afterwards because on the way home, I told him exactly what happened. We started talking about like how, it gets a little annoying when you're trying to grab your equipment and move and stuff and people are in the way or whatever. And I kind of told him, I'm like, yeah, I noticed this one girl. And then I was thinking like, oh, is he like her? And he started laughing too. And he was like, oh my God, I noticed something was wrong with you. I didn't know what was going on. And I thought, wow, like it's good that I could laugh about it with him and laugh about it now, but growth really is awareness. So because years ago, I probably would have stayed in that. I would have stayed in that emotion and that story and let it just spiral. Maybe acted a little weird towards him, started making assumptions, like just when I wanted to go home and run. But instead, I became aware of it and said, no, that's an old program. That's old software and we're not running on that anymore. So awareness is key. It was crucial because think about so many times and instances, maybe from your past, where you could have been like, oh, let me interrupt this limiting belief right now in real time because that's an old program. And this one thing alone can change your life. Because limiting beliefs are like mental malware. It's one of my favorite ways to think about limiting beliefs. Treat them like mental malware from now on, like software you accidentally downloaded years ago. Maybe from childhood, past relationships, money struggles, heartbreak, rejection, fear, all of those things. But now that program, it can sneak up and it's quietly running in the background without you even realizing it. And the worst part, because it's familiar, you'll mistake it for the truth. But familiar doesn't mean true. It just means practiced. Something that you used to practice years ago. And this changed everything for me. Because instead of asking, what's wrong with me? I started asking, what program is running right now? Like literally, as I was running, I was like, what program is running right now? And that's the real-time reset tool. Here's exactly what I do now. The moment anything like that happens and these limiting beliefs pop up and I notice myself going somewhere and I'm like, I'm not present and I'm spiraling and I'm fighting it, or like I don't fight it and I don't shame myself. I just pause. I couldn't pause because I was running, but I mentally paused and I asked, what story am I telling myself right now? What program is running? And do I want to keep this in my system? That question alone is powerful because you separate yourself from the thought. You stop identifying with it and you just start observing it. And remember what I talked about in part 1 with the identity anchors. The observer version of you gets to decide. So replace it immediately. Now, this isn't toxic, like positivity, where we are just like gonna like pretend or gaslighting ourselves. No, we're not doing that. We're just simply replacing an old story with a more aligned one. So instead of, let's say when you got these stories running in your head, instead of money is hard, try this. Money flows more easily than I've allowed myself to believe. Instead of people always leave, try safe, healthy love gets to exist for me. When that story starts telling you that you're behind, flip it to, my timing is unfolding exactly as it should be. Because my beautiful, gorgeous friends, the story you repeat becomes familiar. And familiar eventually becomes normal. So, if this video resonated with you, I want you to comment the word rise below and let me know, what story are you finally ready to stop telling yourself? Because awareness, when you can become aware of this, and I can't wait for you guys to try this and really, it changes everything. So in part 3 of Program Your Reality, I want to show you why frequency matters more than effort, why your brain has to emotionally experience the future before reality creates and catches up, and the exact nervous system practice I personally use to shift my emotional baseline like 10 times faster. Because honestly, this is the moment where things really begin changing. This is when you stop being, okay, Leanne, I understand the concepts. I understand them. But when you actually put them into practice, I'm becoming the person. Because I stayed in this, okay, I understand the concepts for so long. So I want you to, yes, understand them, but now let's put them to practice. Because repetition is what creates that familiarity. And familiarity eventually just becomes your identity. And identity changes reality. So, gorgeous, beautiful friends of mine, trust me, I don't want you to miss part 3. So, with that, I can't wait to see you in the next video, and much peace and love.